I'm not bending the knee, and I would never sign off on Gears, Halo, and Forza going to PlayStation.
Hey yo, what the?
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and yes, today we got your next dose of the salty batch files, and boy, has the Xbox fanboys, Shills, frauds, had a week or so. They have definitely been rolling in it. However, we definitely have some more examples here, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, we're going to get right to the salt here, but real quick, just going to let you know, we have obviously some picture examples, screenshot examples, but we do have a lot of video examples today because there's some stuff we have to get to, mix of everything here. So bear with me, trying to get through it all. There's so much good salt, so many good examples that I can only get to so much. If only this was my full-time gig. But anyways, just a quick reminder. I wanted to share this all with you, by the way. So those Colt Eastwood followers, yes, he's back. He's got to be featured almost every time. Trust me, I don't want to. This stuff just keeps coming my way, and I happen to see it, and so on and so forth. But as you can see directly from his video, and he's very, very optimistic, he's very sure of himself on this, but as you can see, what is the description of this video, by the way? The description of his video, Xbox Business Update, Exclusives and Holiday Hardware 2024. So this was 2024, obviously. You could see that through his channel if you wanted to venture that far. No Starfield or Indiana Jones on PlayStation 5. And not incorrect there, but that doesn't mean it's not coming later on, now is it? So he's very sure of trying to keep the fan base at bay, trying to keep them with that hype, like Xbox is still a good ecosystem for you, it's still good to invest in the hardware, this, that, and the other. What he doesn't tell you is what's going on in the future, what's going on for the template, what's going on for the true roadmap as a multi-platform publisher, which Xbox is more and more akin to be and looking like as the days roll by, as we continue day by day. They continue to lean towards that full third-party publisher. We see all that stuff. We're going to talk about the Xbox hardware sales and stuff like that as well, but just remember, just a quick reminder, right? Be careful who you listen to, be careful who you follow. Look at their track record. Look at what they're trying to sell you. He's not too much better than the used car salesman Phil Spencer himself. So just a word of advice, right? Be careful who you listen to, what you listen to. Make sure you do your research. Just an FYI, just a quick word of advice from Xvault here. So let's move on to the next example here we have for a screenshot. What I wanted to share here is we're going to have a couple video examples of Black Myth Wukong. And yes, I've talked about this extensively for a couple videos, but there's just some more stuff I want to share, show. They're still, to this day, to this point in time, they're still not believing what's going on. But just a quick showing here. It's multiple sites and everything. As you can see here, Double Barrel Gaming. I know I mentioned this in the past, but as you can see, Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series XS. What's the real truth? So he's not going to give you the real truth. He's going to give you speculation. All these folks that you're going to be seeing in these videos coming up is going to be pure speculation. I can't stress that enough. The speculation is strong. The assumptions, you know what happens when somebody assumes something. They make, it's the saying goes, right? They make an ass out of you and me. So here they are trying to spin it. The fact they aren't getting it, the fact that they always feel like Xbox, the brand, is always victimized and everything of that sort. You gotta look at that. And I cannot stand in real life, and whether this is gaming related or any other topic related, anybody that plays the victim card and seems all victimized, when they either bring it on themselves via pure delusion, via, some sort of different competency issues, whatever the case is, I cannot stand the victim mentality. And this is the flag that brand, as far as the fanboys and shills and frauds and whatever you want to call them, have been doing the last almost 2 decades, has been waving that flag of that victim mentality. This isn't fair because of A, B, and C. And most of the time they're pointing that finger, of course, at Sony, their biggest competitor, right? Just a heads up. Like I said, getting a couple videos here very shortly. We'll be talking about that a little bit more. So something else I wanted to bring up here, we do have Bitch of Truth here. As you can see, yes, Beast of Truth, but that was his OG name, is Bitch of Truth. So as you can see here, he states, this is Salt and copium at its finest here, by the way. Spider-Man fans been acting brand new around here. Remember where you came from with a winking emoji. Must be stealing those from the catfish Andrea Piccinini, aka Ascension, all that stuff. But that aside, as you can see, this picture is showing all these Spider-Man games that were available either on Xbox or Xbox 360. Little does he know, if he did his research, if he's talking truthfully to his audience or even to himself in the mirror, if he can reach the mirror. I heard he has to get a step stool to get up there. But regardless, I believe I remember Spider-Man games starting off on the Atari, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and of course we had some great entries with Spider-Man 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 1, Enter Electro, all that stuff. So remember, yes, folks, remember where Spider-Man came from, and that is pretty much everywhere. I don't know what this has to do aside from being super salty and coping to the nth degree here, because, I mean, now we're at Insomniac levels of quality here, and there's been some great hits for Spider-Man, as you can see via this pick. Some great ones, some not so great ones, and yes, we're looking at Friend or Foe and a couple others on here, right? Spider-Man 3, the movie tie-in game, was pretty horrendous after what we got from Spider-Man 2, the movie tie-in game, so on and so forth. And Ultimate Alliance is not a Spider-Man game. That is a superhero game with everybody there, but again, what are we reaching for? But we're not done there, folks. Let's pull up. Where did he get this pick? He makes it seem like he has this pick. He owns all these games because he's that hardcore. He's a huge Spider-Man fan and he's a huge Xbox fan. Clearly, these are his games and this is his picture, right? Oh man, looking a little further here, it looks like these have been attributed to a Reddit post or our game collecting on Reddit or whatever. This is from somebody else. This is not his picture, so he just wants to maybe remind you where Spider-Man came from. Again, he's incorrect. He can't even do his research appropriately. And stealing pictures to encompass the fact that that might be alluding to that's his picture and those are his games. It doesn't discredit any of that, but just another L for him once again. I don't know what else to say other than this is just straight up embarrassing, folks. But there you have it. He has a pretty decent sized following. I don't know why. People love to have that sheep mentality. I don't know what else to say to that. It's kind of crazy if we're asking me here. So moving on here, what I want to show real quick is a couple more examples from Mr. Paul Tassi. Again, not somebody I think I want to feature that often on this channel, but again, when they're gonna do some stupid things, I'm gonna feature that, right? And real quick here, we have something from back in 2020, right? He has an article stating basically, as you can see from the title, Xbox Series X has made a better first impression than PS5 so far. Why? I don't know. Even at that time, when I've seen articles, and Paul Tassi's not the only one that made articles like this, but you see where their fake neutrality comes from, right? In no point whatsoever did the Series X or should have given a false sense of, I like the direction where it's at, this is going to be more promising than PlayStation. When is the day, aside from the 360, and even then, we're not going to go into history big time here because we all know what happened with the PS3 catching up. They had their snafus, the 90-day hack, all this stuff. I'm not going to brush that under the table or under the rug. However, what we're looking at is apples to oranges, essentially. But when is the last time that Xbox has done anything to garner our trust as a gamer or even as a fanboy on the Xbox side? When was the last time? And yes, it was the 360 era, but you also had to accommodate for that red ring of death. You had to accommodate for the failed HDR implementation when Blu-ray won out. There's still a lot of shortcomings from that, right? You had to buy the $100 network adapter if you wanted to go wireless because not everybody's living next to a Ethernet port and all this stuff, right? There's a lot of things to look on both sides of the fence there, right? PlayStation as well. However, what we're talking about here in a siloed effect is the games, right? Xbox 360 had great games and they had great exclusives as well over there, or timed exclusives and all that stuff as well. When was last time? 360 era, right? So to an entire failed generation afterwards, you're going to get that trust back so far, right, Paul? Anyways, what do we have here afterwards? So Paul Tassi has to then, at this point in time, as of January 2025, new estimates have PS5 beating Xbox over 5-1 in sales for November. Again, just a few short 4 years later, a little over 4 years later, we're looking at the fact that we have this kind of discerning difference. Why you thought this was going to be different, I don't know. Not for 1 second did I buy what Xbox and Phil Spencer was doing. When you don't have when we're talking about roadmaps, Gaz's favorite topic, by the way, when we're talking about roadmaps, you had fake roadmaps for Xbox that they weren't hitting. There was no right away game coming out the first year even. You don't have to necessarily, I would love to have those exclusives and great IP that sells your console, and that's what you should be doing, especially into a new generation. However, what we have here is the fact that Xbox had absolutely nothing in its launch year. That is detrimental. That should have been an ultimate red flag. That should have been a sign of things to come. I've seen it a mile away. I'm not some sort of specialized analyst that's been in the industry as a deep insider and have all these contacts, this, that, and the other. The point being, it's common sense. And the fact that that shows their neutrality, I just want to show the discerning difference from beginning to current and all that stuff. What are we doing? I mean, again, I just want to point out the preface that it's common sense. And that's something a lot of the fanboys do not have this day and age, right? This day and age, at this point in time, whatever you want to spin that, it's just clearly an example from A to B. You love to see it in a way because it's like, a lot of us have seen this. A lot of us have been saying this, not just to be fanboys on the other side of the fence, just being like, hey, look, this is the way it's trekking. But we had stuff that said that Xbox Series X looked more promising. It eats monsters for breakfast, right? But anyways, let's continue on here. With that going on, what I'm going to have to do is go over one more thing. I want to show an embarrassing engagement here from Jez before we get to the couple videos so we don't make this too long. But very AFK stating, immediately everyone draws parallels with TV, a famously passive medium wherein games are decidedly the exact opposite. Anyone who thinks games should chase the economics of film and TV is an obviously destructive force. Then Jez has to chime in, and Jez likes to take a lot of L's. I don't understand. Just because he's a blogger for Windows Central, man, people put a lot of stock in this guy. But as you can see, free-to-play games can expect to lose 100% of their premium game sales. Think of the children. He thinks he's being witty and smart here. But here we have, if you didn't read ahead already, very AFK. I don't really understand your point here, given that free-to-play games generate sales for the developer, whereas subscription games are proven to detract from sales. Exactly. I'll say this again because that's a lot to kind of take in real quick. I don't really understand your point here, given that free-to-play games generate sales for the developer. Okay? Whereas subscription games are proven to detract from sales. Do we see the difference there, Jez? Do we see the difference there? Anybody that happens to latch on to anything Jez says. What very AFK stated here is very factual, as a matter of fact, and I appreciate that, and that's the bottom line, right? Not to steal from Stone Cold here, but that is the bottom line. That is the difference. That is what you're looking at. Cut and dry, black and white. So you love to see it. I love when Jez gets embarrassed because he's just always so sure of himself. Acts like he's a blogger. I'm not a blogger, I'm a journalist. Oh wait, that didn't pan out. I'm not a journalist, I'm a blogger. Oh wait, this isn't exactly what I meant when I said whatever. You know, it's just a joke. It's just a joke, but I'm not going to beat on that drum currently any further because we do need to get to the videos here. Now, again, before we get to the Black Myth Wukong videos here, we have something in regards to how a couple individuals here, Kid Smoove and Lord Addict, how they feel about the current Xbox Developer Direct coming up here very soon. How do they feel about this? Well, let's take a look here.
We got to see these games, but for the most part, I get to play 2 Obsidian games this year.
Yeah,
it's looking like I'm going to get to play Fable. Like, this is what we've been asking for. Just we kind of wished it would have been different.
yeah. This would have felt a lot sweeter, a lot more nastier, a lot more vital if these games were like if they were these were just exclusives. If they were just straight, like, no, saying coming to play, like, it would definitely, Xbox fans would be like, I think there would be more Xbox fans today.
Yeah, and I can tell you that, like, the Xbox hype in general is, like, it's not gone, but it's dramatically been decreased. And, like, look, you know, we could sit there and we could say, you know, it is a console war thing to a degree. But I think a lot of that is, like, you don't understand, like, these, like, people like myself, we've been with this brand when no one was fucking with it.
Yeah.
When it was kind of stupid for you to publicly say that you was an Xbox fan. And a lot of us was like, we see the vision.
Yeah.
We just got to let them get to the vision. They got to be allowed to get to the vision. We got to give them the benefit of the doubt. We gave them the benefit of the doubt, and the vision came true, but then they were shot out of the sky before they landed.
Yeah.
Does it mean, like, these games are going to be any worse? No. You know, if you're going to enjoy these games before, you're going to enjoy these games after. But it is a little disappointing to know that, you know, everything that Microsoft and Xbox built the Xbox platform to be, you know, Phil Spencer and Satya kind of, like, you know, they kind of took the wind out of the sail. And, like, we can't sit here and, like, act like we know for a fact if, like, this is going to turn out well or bad or good for them. Because for all we know, Smooth, 2 or 3 years from now, if we're still doing content coverage, we're going to go up on a show and be like, damn, man, Microsoft had it. It's a good thing they didn't listen to us.
All right, and as you can see here, it's very interesting, right? A couple of quick takeaways here so we can get to the other videos, but yes, the hype's going to die down when you know those games are more than likely hitting competing platforms, specifically more so on the PlayStation. These are also rumored to be coming to the Switch 2 as well. We mentioned in my last video a lot about going on with all that there, right? However, what we have here is just, you know, a lot of coping as well. And then they try to act like they've been deep in the trenches. Well, we liked Xbox and we said we were a part of Xbox when it wasn't cool to do so. Meaning that they just take it. This isn't a flex. This isn't a badge of honor. You know, this isn't a badge of honor where you're sitting there in the trenches and you're taking everything that Phil and company is throwing at you at the time in hopes of seeing that vision. It was never meant to be. It was not going to happen. The vision that was supposed to be was Game Pass was supposed to be successful. Everything was taken up with subscription services. But if you did your research again, not games, but if you're looking at Netflix and HBO and all these folks, I mean, there was a peak, and subscription services, a lot of them are in the red in regards to that. So why Phil Spencer thought gaming would be okay with that? Yes, GameFly is doing fine. I don't know if they're doing phenomenal at this point in time. I'd have to research that before I say something ridiculous there and just assume crap. I would like to actually know. So if you guys know how GameFly, by the way, is doing, let me know down in the comments below. However, it's that was the vision, right? Game Pass was going to garner all these subscription services and encompass a lot of these fans in there, and they're going to be subscribing because there's day one games and all this. And yes, in a perfect world, that possibly could have worked if you had a crap ton of followers that jumped in there. But it was always going to be too little, too late for Xbox. They didn't jump on it. I think they needed to stay with what Sony was doing for the longest route. I know he stated, as of recent, we make fun of and go over time and time again. Xbox and Phil Spencer stated this, right? Xbox can never out-console PlayStation or Nintendo and PlayStation, whatever came before the other in there. But I think they could have. You got the IPs. They had IPs beforehand. They just didn't believe in them. They just didn't put the effort in there. They didn't put the drive in there. They didn't put the marketing in there. There's so many things they failed to do, right? And Game Pass to me was too little, too late. It's a couple things, right? It was too little, too late, right? But at the same time, if it makes sense, it was also ahead of its time in a way, because not everybody is ready to just jump into a subscription service and leave everything behind. Digital is becoming more and more prevalent today, right, as time goes on. But back when Game Pass was just in its inception there, or conception, however you want to say that, right? it just wasn't that time where like, hey, we are looking for something like this, right? The public wasn't looking for something. Why isn't somebody come up with some sort of subscription service now that Redbox and so on and so forth is becoming less and less prevalent, right? At the time, I mean, Redbox was a hit until that just went out, right? As far as physical, going to the machines, doing this and that. But regardless, that's what's happening. So again, to circle back around before I beat this drum any further as well, is the fact that no, you don't get some sort of special badge or notification of you being an awesome Xbox fanboy, right? That you did the right thing, that you believed them and this is why. And guys, the writing was on the wall for so long. You just have to see what's going on. And it's only, you can sit there and be optimistic for a few months, but after that, there's time that you look at it and look at reality and be like, look, we, as the fans who have Phil's ear, those with a following, those with content, you needed to speak up a lot sooner. Again, I've stated this from videos from the past. You got to figure it out, and you should have been accountable, just like Phil should have been accountable from day one. And here we are. But anyways, let's get over to the Black Myth Wukong videos. We have 2 here. And again, let's show the first individual here. And what he has to say about this here. Take a look.
You choose who you want to believe, but people are basically now saying that Microsoft came out and is lying about this. I have a hard time believing that based on the way everything has gone down with this game. Just the fact that they announced it for multi-platform, and the last second they said that they were only releasing it on PlayStation, and Microsoft and their spokespeople out there explicitly going out and lying about the situation. I don't know if that does them any justice. And I feel like Black Myth Wukong and that company there, they have a bit more leeway and probably more incentive to bend the truth a little bit so that people don't believe that they are going out and making shady deals and stuff like that and trying to piss off the people who would potentially be buying their game on Xbox. If they can make it seem like it has to do with the platform itself and nothing to do with a deal that has been made when they do eventually release it on Xbox, they would maybe praise for putting in the extra work to work out those issues with the game itself.
All right, so it's going to be the common theme, right? They just don't believe, and they're just creating these assumptions. Like I mentioned in the beginning when I was talking about the double barrel gaming, right, video there. They just don't believe, and they just want to kind of latch on and make you believe in the audience that something fishy is going on. That something's fishy going on, and so on and so forth. So they're coming up with all these excuses like you just heard from him. But I'm going to talk on this a little bit further, but here's the other example here again, and kind of spouting the same thing, but it's multiple videos, and this is why I want to show you how absurd this is. But go ahead and take a look at this one here as well.
It's a deal. I don't give a fuck about what type of deal it was. They took a bag. 100%. That's what they did.
And they're out here lying about it.
They're lying. They're lying. If they weren't lying, they would be like, yo, Microsoft is lying. We never said that. What's the difference? Your game's not on there, right? Microsoft's lying. We never said that. Put it on them. Hey, Phil, show me the email where we told you that we took a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, grow some balls. Call them out.
Oh, well, we're out here talking about the S publicly.
Yeah, but they slander the S. Man,
that's what they keep taking jabs at, right?
Years.
The bad situation, right? That we don't talk about.
Come on, man. Let's stop the bullshit, bro. Like, let's stop. We know what this is, right? We know what this is. Stop the bullshit.
All right. So, like I said, what are we doing here? It's the same rhetoric. They don't believe it. Phil Spencer's not lying. The used car salesman guy's not lying. They've never lied to us before. They do it consistently and all the time. Do you see how they continue to latch on? They're upset about it. There has to be a deal. It is shady. All this stuff. Why are they hiding it? I've said this multiple times in my last extensive videos for Black Myth Wukong. Guys, what point does this benefit the developers or Black Myth Wukong devs or Sony for being quiet? Why now would they choose to be quiet, right? Why now? But hold on, we're not done. We have one more from Kid Smooth himself again. He goes in more detail from that same video I might have shown snippets of before, but take a look at this one real quick as well.
The Black Myth Wukong, no, I don't believe the devs. I think devs are liars. Devs are human beings, just like us. Devs can lie. Devs can be deceitful. Devs can take deals. Devs can do things for their own personal interests. It is what it is. There's nothing that makes them special just because they can do polygons and count very well. Doesn't make them any special. It doesn't take away the human element of them. So I don't care about this coming out. They should have addressed this the minute Xbox said something months ago, back in August. I think Xbox addressed this in August. They never formally came out and addressed why they weren't releasing on Xbox either. They never formally came out. Now you feel like, oh, it was like, no, I don't even want I don't speak for all Xbox fans, but I'm saying as a individual Xbox fan, I don't want Wukong on Xbox. You know what I mean? It is what it is. The zeitgeist is over. It's gone. Nobody's checking for it.
So, look. So now, and this is the part this is why I keep beating this drum on Black Myth Wukong. This is the final time I'll bring it up unless we have new findings of it, right? I just want to preface this one more time that I really, and all of you out there should agree to this as well, this is unnecessary hatred towards devs when they bring up examples to where devs are just like us, they lie like us, they do this, they do that, putting all this blame on the devs as well, right? It's one thing to blame a corporation as a whole, right? But to sit there and go directly at devs for, again, working their asses off on these games so you and I and countless others can enjoy these great, amazing experiences that we've gotten to do since we were nigh high, very young, up until now. And it's something I cannot stand to see. I mean, the salt. Where's the salt? This is all the salt. This is all the copium. These are the lies. And he's talking about they lie like just like us. Kid, you lie. Colt lies. Gaz has lied. All you guys, Alex has lied. Everybody has lied and moved and shifted goalposts and this and that. We got Bitch of Truth lying all the time. We got everybody in your guys' circles, whether it's in your immediate circle or the outer circle, you're still within that same family of crazy shilling fraud fanboys, you name it. It's really pathetic to see. That's where the lies are at. Until you get a definitive answer, again, this is this outlier here of Black Myth Wukong, but this is the game. This is the game that tips the scale to where the devs are lying to you, straight up. Man. And Sony's lying. Nobody benefits from lying or sweeping this under the rug. They just aren't. They just aren't. I don't know what else to say here. It's pathetic. It's salt. It's copium. It's embarrassing. Stop it. Stop it. It's ridiculous. You make yourselves look like absolute buffoons. I can't say any more than that. Absolute buffoons, and you should be embarrassed. And anybody that follows you guys should also be embarrassed, especially if they believe you. One way or the other. That being said, we'll wrap up the video here. This was a little bit longer because of videos and so on, but like I said, tons of content. I can make hours and hours and hours of this. I just don't have the time. I wish I did. I wish this was my full-time gig. However, we'll wrap up the video here. Thank you all so much for your support. If you lasted through the entirety of this video, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That helps out the algorithm as well as likes and comments on this. If you haven't, I would love to hear from you all down in the comment section below like I just mentioned. And of course, if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. And then on top of that, folks, just always remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.